name is Jenai Marek. I want to publish a children's modern fantasy novel I wrote for my son, about an adventurous boy who, despite being apprehensive about his abilities to accomplish big things, discovers he can do anything he sets his mind to, and discovers the true meaning of courage. Oh, did I mention that boy is a sailor? Since I was my son's age, I've been writing creative stories I'd imagined purely to entertain myself. That is, at the young age of 3, I wrote and illustrated my own book called The Red Dress, which was about a dream gown I'd imagined I'd one day wear. And from there, my passion for writing had expanded to poetry and short stories, as well as novels. I went to college specifically for creative writing and graduated in 2008. For the last 8 years, I've ran 2 of my own blogs, guest blogged on other writers' websites, and also worked as a freelance writer and editor for my peers in the industry. This year, I've completed a manuscript that I'm determined to have published for my son, a manuscript that has taken on a life of its own and has become something greater than I ever could have predicted. I'd like to tell you a bit about my novel. Meet Gup. Gup is the 10-year-old son of a world-famous swashbuckling duo. He lives in a world driven by international commerce across many fantastic seas. Seas where creatures from the deep and mermaids lurk below the surface, where hundreds of islands dot the map and are populated by cannibals and fearsome armies, making finding safe harbor difficult, if not deadly. It's also a world where pirates sail just beyond the horizon. Gup's mother and father are known across these wild oceans for capturing some of the greatest criminals to ever terrorize the high seas. But one fateful day, Gup's skills as a sailor are tested when he's kidnapped by one of the most notorious pirate gangs their world has ever known. I wrote this novel to include all the elements I'd hope my son would find addicting in an adventure story. A mysterious watery world with characters he can relate to, a biodiverse fantasy environment with creatures that stir and excite wonder, and an engaging geography that allows his imagination to take him on a journey with the title character. There are even hints at a deeper political layer, so that the narrative also keeps my older readers engaged, especially so that this novel can be enjoyed as a family story across the generations. As a mother, I wrote it for my son, but as an author, I wrote it for all our children. To date, I've finished writing my novel in its entirety, a total of 32 chapters and over 70,000 words, as well as started the outline to its sequel. I'm also self-editing the manuscript before selecting a professional editor to help me polish the finished product. And that's where you come in. As a backer, your pledge will go strictly to hiring a professional editor and some of the production costs of my novel. I've also developed multiple tiers for backers, each accompanied by its own unique perk. The world has greatly changed since I was a little girl. Though I celebrate the connectivity and accessibility that new technology fosters, I'm nostalgic for the time before the internet and video games. Now that I have a son, I've noticed how the advancements in computers have become a substitute for children's natural ability to access their own imagination and develop classic creativity. I grew up in a time when reading was still a popular childhood pastime, and I'm committed to contributing to the culture of storytelling because of it. My hope is that reading for pleasure doesn't become an extinct or archaic hobby just because the world has increasingly new and exciting technological alternatives. So I ask you to please be a backer for my novel and help me keep our children inspired with something that doesn't require a Wi-Fi to access. Thank you.